Hey friendos, Steve here. Welcome back to the channel. It's time for another Ask WrestleJuice. Usually I used to do these on Friday, but now I just sort of toss them in whenever I need to toss them in because there's a lot of stuff going on lately. Triple H has been dominating sort of the wrestling news headlines with his takeover of WWE Creative, and he's being very aggressive with his moves there in WWE Creative, bringing back a number of wrestlers, including this past Friday on SmackDown, Karrion Kross. And so now there's this other report here from Fightful Select, and it's referenced by our first question. Zyshawn Moore is asking, with the report that the USA Network is disappointed with the World Championship not showing up on Raw, do you think the WWE should split the world titles again? So do I think they should split the titles? Yeah. Okay. So I think they should if it's established that whoever has the other title is sort of powerful, is on par with like Brock Lesnar when he had the title in that short period of time in the lead up to this past year's WrestleMania. So yeah, I could see USA's point of view. I wonder if Triple H is going to suggest to them, hey, can you wait a little bit and see how you like it maybe 3 months from now? Because we want to save that big Roman thing for something big. He'll still be on TV every once in a while, but we're going to build up the United States Championship as a major belt to be on Raw, and maybe you guys will be happy with that. I see the point of view, but I would rather have Roman have both titles, like the big unified title, as opposed to a situation where he is clearly the A guy, and whoever is on Raw with the WWE title is clearly the B guy, like Big E. He was clearly the B champion. And it wasn't, it was like, man, this he can't beat Roman. Like, he tried to Survivor Series, he couldn't even do it like cleanly. Or like, you know, with Roman didn't even need help to beat Big E. So I feel like I'd sort of look at this point. I've been happy with all the moves that Triple H has made. And if they do decide to split the titles, hopefully it's in an interesting way. But do I think they should do it? No, because I don't think they need to do it. And I think it's a bigger deal to have Roman Reigns be your top guy, bar none, because it makes whoever ends up beating Roman Reigns that much more of a big deal. So that's how I feel about it. If they come up with something cool to do it, right on, go ahead and do it. But otherwise, I like the idea of Roman being this big monster that like nobody can take down. And I think Triple H likes that also because that's how he had Walter booked at NXT UK. It's how I think he wanted to book Karrion Kross and before him Keith Lee in no, was it the opposite way? I forget. In NXT when Keith Lee was like the double champion. He likes those dominant champions. I mean, he did it himself back in the day. So I think he's probably going to try to get USA to be cool, just the United States Championship being a major title. So we'll see how that plays out. John Davies asks, hypothetical question. If Triple H had taken over the creative at the start of the year, would Tony Khan have made a greater effort to retain Tony and resolve the MJF contract situation? Cheers. Yeah, I mean, you'd think that everything would be kind of different. You know, like I feel like things are different now with Triple H in charge, and Tony Khan is going to have to try to up his game a little bit, especially with so many injuries. So whether that means overpaying people that he knows Triple H is going to want to get his hands on. Like apparently Tony Khan wanted to bring in Killer Kross to eat a pin to Wardlow while Wardlow was on a streak against MJF. Yeah, I probably maybe he would have made a bigger effort. Maybe he would have given MJF if WWE really starts sort of, you know, dominating even more. I mean, the Raw rating was nuts this past week. It was like 2.2 million or something like that. It was a pretty big number. I don't know. I don't know if he would change anything. Tony Khan's also very stubborn. So who knows if he would have changed anything. He probably just been like, whatever, I can get it done without you. Who cares? So probably not. I don't know. He's the son of a billionaire. Let's see here. Griff Giant says, thoughts on this. Powerhouse Hobbs, Ricky Starks, and Hook are going to be to AEW what the Shield was to WWE, establishing three of the biggest names in the company for the future and will carry in years' time. No, because the Shield was ready then, like right then. Hook is going to still take a lot of time before he's like a fully formed pro wrestler. I know people love Hook, and I get it. I like Hook quite a bit. But I think that there's elements of his presentation that are kind of one-dimensional, and that needs to be taken care of. Ricky Starks is fully formed. He is amazing. He's great. I could see him being, you know, kind of like a top guy sooner than later. And I feel the same way about Hobbs. But I don't know. It remains to be seen. At the time when the Shield all came up, they really needed to set some guys who were going to be top guys in the next year or two. And that's what those three guys became. And right now, AEW is really not in that situation. They already have like a bunch of guys who could be world champion over the next couple of years. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe they will be sort of like the Shield guys. Maybe in 2 years, Hook will be world champion. I kind of don't see it, but it's possible. I think for sure Ricky Starks. I think Ricky Starks is probably going to take the spot that MJF was supposed to take, only instead of being a bad guy, he's a good guy. Let's see here. Let's continue on. The JM Domingo. I feel like nobody really expected Triple H to enact drastic changes to the WWE product this early into his time as head of creative. If this continues moving forward, what do you think WrestleMania is going to look like for next year? I think they're still going to try to do Roman Rock because that makes a lot of business sense. And if The Rock wants to do it, Triple H and The Rock, I think, have always been on good terms. Stephanie and The Rock's always been on good terms. Yeah, I feel like I think they're going to really try to get Roman versus Rock. As far as the rest of it, it's going to be Triple H, guys. I think we're still going to get, I think Cody's still going to be in a really good position, but I think you're going to see like Kevin Owens in a really good spot. Wouldn't shock me to see Shayna Baszler in a top position as well, but they'll still hopefully use Ronda Rousey. Maybe Ronda Rousey versus Becky Lynch will be the thing going on there. But yeah, I sort of see, you can sort of see how things are playing out right now. It will be interesting to see how they handle like the double brand thing. If Triple H, I don't know what Triple H's thoughts were on like the brand split back in the day. He was definitely the A champion back then. Anyways, let's see here. Master Man, with the return of Karrion Kross and Scarlett Bordeaux, who else do you feel has been secretly contacted to return to the company? Can't say Bray or Gargano. Yeah, it's Gargano for sure. He's coming. He's probably coming back on Monday, to be honest with you. They're in Cleveland. And Candice LeRae, I know Triple H really liked her. There's not a whole lot of other people, though. Like, I'd be kind of surprised. I think he's going to try to maybe use Brock to get other people over if Brock is cool with that. But Brock also has his own agenda. And he's sort of used to calling his own shots with Vince. And I'm not sure that's really going to work with Triple H, but I don't know. I'd be surprised if Triple H called Goldberg. I'd be kind of surprised at that. I'd be surprised if he wanted a guy who just was that bad in the ring. That'd be kind of surprising to me. Aster Ash says, would you ever react to a Control Your Narrative video? Few of the big wrestling channels have actually covered it since it launched, but watching Top 10 Wrestling's video covering it and what it's actually like was such an odd experience. I'd love to see more folks reacting to it. I wouldn't be opposed to it. I think they've got an unfair knock because of how they're branded and some of the names that they brought into the company. It's been like a funny joke. But you know what? People are getting paid there, and I think that's cool. And I really appreciate that they are trying something creative over there and something a little bit different. And like EC3 and Braun Strowman seem to be really committed to it and invested in it. I think that's pretty cool. So I don't know. I don't know if I'd be opposed to it. It would just be a matter of like, how would I react to it? Like, I can't show it on the screen. I'm not sure if I just want to do a straight up review of it, but I don't know. Maybe I would. It's something to consider, I guess. Sean Chan says, just watched your top 10 wrestlers video. So Larson and I did a Going In Raw episode of Count Out yesterday, and it was top 10 wrestlers who'd benefit the most under Triple H. He says, you mentioned things looking up for Theory. What do you think will get him to the next level? A faction, a face turn, a storyline similar to combine just before he became happy? I don't know what that means. So for Theory, the idea was this. Nobody in the audience really cared much for him. He wasn't really doing anything interesting. He's Mr. Money in the Bank, but nobody really cared to see him cash in. He looked like a fool. Now with Vince McMahon gone, it seems like it's going to be open season on Theory. People are going to be beating the shit out of him. We've already seen this at SummerSlam. He failed at attempting a cash in. On the Raw before that, he was getting, beat up pretty good. We didn't see him at SmackDown. I think that he's going to sort of reach a rock bottom story. And I think what Triple H is going to try to do is give the guy some dimension, take him away from being just selfie guy. If that's get a mentor, if that's like maybe Johnny Gargano, what he's going to help out with, I don't know. But you got to get him in. Maybe you probably just want to turn him babyface, like have him. It'd be easier if you split the titles, because I don't know if they would want him to be the guy. I think he's still a couple years away from that. Triple H probably knows that. But if you add some dimension to his character, if you sprinkle in a little bit of like sort of his stuff from the way, not the whole thing because he was basically just a dullard. But if you just add some dimension to his character, and that can start off with him being humbled. McMahon's not there anymore. He's just getting his ass handed to him. He can't cash in. He has no idea how to do it. So he's got to ask for help, or he has to figure out how to not be so shitty and start winning some matches. Mealer the Dealer says, with Triple H setting the precedent for bringing back released talent, are there any stars you think he won't bring back, or some that will be guaranteed back on TV in the coming months? Some of the other people that maybe he's contacted also, I think he probably liked Dexter Lumis. He brought him into NXT, so maybe he'll come back. Persia Parada, I'd be surprised if she didn't come back. I think that she'd probably come back. As far as won't be, I don't know. I would be surprised. I know somebody has a question here about Bray Wyatt. At this point, I'd be kind of surprised if Bray Wyatt came back. I think he's too busy doing the movie stuff. Let's see here. Sean Chan says, with the poor reaction to Liv on SmackDown, the crowds started chanting, "You tapped out." Do you think fans are fickle? Is this a result of poorly booking the finish of SummerSlam, or is it just some old-fashioned smart trolling? I think that they just reacted to what they saw. She tapped out, and they called her out on it, and she responded appropriately, and I thought that was fine. I don't think it was a poorly. I think that I want to see where this is going to go, because now she has to face Shayna Baszler, who's like a proxy for Ronda Rousey. They're good friends. Shayna Baszler is a submission artist. So yeah, I kind of feel like it's a story that's happening. Like they booked that on purpose to try to give her, dude, you know, if she is able to overcome that with the fans, like I kind of like the idea that he set her up to have the fans backlash against her a little bit, because then she has to win them over. And I kind of like that. So, no, I think it was actually probably a good idea. I don't know if he would have expected that reaction, that the fans just started chanting, "You tapped out." But I don't know. Triple H is a savvy guy. No Limits Wrestling, with the buzz that Triple H had created in the aftermath of SummerSlam, how can AEW regain some of their lost momentum heading into All Out? Uninjured people. They also need to tell some stories. They've been sort of lacking in the story department lately. I've mentioned this before, I think, either here or on Going in Raw, how I think like a lot of the more story-based wrestlers are the ones who are injured. Danielson, Punk, Kenny's gone, Cody's gone, MJF is gone. Those are all very story-based wrestlers. And what you're left with is Jericho, who's a very story-based wrestler, and then like everybody else who's just like wrestlers. They just go in there, they have really good matches. I don't know why I say this. I like really good matches. But I kind of feel like to get the fans really more into it, to get a wider crowd appeal, you need to build some stories heading into it. I think that's what they're trying to do with the trios titles as well. They're trying to tell some stories there with Cole and turning on the Bucks and all that stuff. And Kenny's probably going to come back to get involved in that somehow. So yeah, I think they just need to tell some stories, and there's not a lot of time left to do that. They only have a month left. Let's see here. Gern Blanston. With Triple H bringing his NXT folks up to the main roster, do you think the surprise debuts will work out in the long run, or should they be introduced in a more explanatory way? I don't think they should be uniform. I don't think they should only be surprises or only explained in a logical way. I think a little bit of A and a little bit of B will work out just fine. Betty Frame says, what do you think is Bray Wyatt's next move? I just think that he's going to be doing Hollywood stuff. I think he keeps on the Twitter to keep people intrigued. Maybe at some point he'll cash in for another wrestling payday so he can fund some of his movie stuff. But I think he's still working on that movie stuff, and that just takes up probably all of his time. So yeah, I hope that I hope he does come back at some point, because I really liked him. I'd love to see him under Triple H. I think that'd be kind of awesome. Brendan Triola says, how would you like to see Sami's story play out with the Bloodline? I'd love to see him walk out with the Bloodline just once. I would love to see that. And then after that, you know, they fucking, you know, throw him out and you humiliate him, and then he's able to come back. And I don't know, maybe him and a couple people here are saying that, do you think him and Kevin Owens are going to take the tag titles from the Bloodline? That'd be awesome. I think that'd be really cool. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I think that'd be great. I think Sami's probably looking at the Bloodline because they said, hey, go out and win a title. He's probably looking at Gunther at that Intercontinental Championship, so maybe that'll be the feud after Gunther and Shinsuke. I think that's a possibility, in which case that'll be a hell of a feud, and that should be a really great match. Let's see here. Taker K Knight 619 says, who do you think will be the first person to jump from AEW to WWE because Triple H is in charge now instead of Vince? Oh man, I don't know. Everybody's like signed for like a long time. So it'd be people whose contracts are coming up. I mean, the easy answer is MJF. But I don't even think he can until 2024. But everybody else is like signed there. So maybe the next contract to come up would be FTR, and I would be shocked if they didn't go back to WWE. They have done everything they can do outside of WWE. I mean, they probably need one good IWGP tag run to sort of satisfy that, but beyond that, like they've kind of done everything else. It's a shame they didn't put those AEW tag titles on them at the same time as now. Maybe they'll still do that. Isaac B, if Jeff Hardy never returns to AEW, what do you think will become of Matt Hardy? I think he's probably just going to keep on doing it. He's very good at reinvention. I feel like if Matt Hardy understands that Jeff Hardy's not going to come back, he will probably just pitch another faction that he can lead, maybe do some of the broken stuff. He's also a really good storyteller, so maybe if they have him do some of the broken stuff, that'll be interesting. Patrick Sparks, the B-Man, says, what released NXT UK superstar would you like to have a massive re-debut on par with Karrion Kross? The only problem with this question, Patrick, is I don't know who's been released from NXT UK that wasn't because of the speaking out thing. Like everybody else is like still with the company, I think. Unless I'm wrong about that. Somebody in the comments can correct me on that one, maybe. Let's see here. Gamers X says, was there any animosity between Mox and Triple H, or could he actually go back to WWE at some point? From what I understand in Mox's book, he wasn't the biggest fan of Triple H, but I don't know. He's also done a lot already. He probably just likes his freedom outside of WWE. At the same time, Triple H is pretty good at smoothing things over with people, so I would think that maybe there would be a chance that he could, but I don't know. I feel like Mox is sort of like a CM Punk type that sort of just rubs his vibe, just sort of rubs Triple H the wrong way. I could be wrong about that. Let's see here. Got that one, and yeah, that's gonna do it for us. Well, we'll do this last one here. Stinky Bojangle says, is MJF still with AEW? Nobody seems to know. Hold on a second. There's an account here that says Dave Meltzer. It's an account, David Meltzer. It's clearly a picture of Dave Meltzer, and his question is, why do people not like Dave Meltzer? I don't know. People don't like when somebody knows their shit. I don't know. I like Dave Meltzer. I think that sometimes like he's full of it, but I think sometimes, he's cool. He's got a really messy office like me right now. I don't know. I think it's because his star rating system has become like the standard in pro wrestling that everybody looks to rate matches, and people don't like that their opinion doesn't matter as much as another person's opinion. And they get angry and resentful about that, and then they lash out. That's what I think it is, But hey, man, Dave Meltzer has been doing this a long time. Very, very popular guy. Anyways, thanks everybody for tuning in. I appreciate it. Check out this other video over here. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, a little notify bell next to it. See you guys over there.